Good morning, boys and girls, moms and dads, everybody in viewer land. Happy Generator Monday. Today we're going to talk about a couple of things with the Portable Champion dual fuel before we go over to the Generac today. And one of the things I want to talk about is everybody in viewer land knows that you don't use ethanol, gasoline in your small equipment, your lawnmowers, your generators, your weed whips, whatever you have, don't use ethanol. So how can you be sure when you go to the pumps that you're getting non-ethanol fuel? Well, you select premium non-ethanol, but in the hose, if it's shared with the nozzle with the different products, you could end up with a half a gallon to 3 quarts of ethanol fuel by the time you start getting the premium that you're paying for, the non-ethanol fuel. So if you're filling a gallon can with like this, you're going to get mostly ethanol fuel, not non-ethanol fuel. So what I always do is I take my vehicle with me and I take my fuel cans, the 5 gallons in the gallon, and I fill the vehicle, put 2 or 3 gallons at least into the vehicle to purge out the system at the fuel pump, so that you're going to be sure that what you're putting in the cans is the non-ethanol premium. So before you go, especially go fill in a gallon container or a 5 gallon, you're going to be putting the ethanol fuel in it before you get the ethanol. So that'll reduce it. So go ahead and take your vehicle with you, fill the vehicle first, get 2 or 3 gallons through it at a minimum, and now you know that the hose is purged with the premium non-ethanol fuel. So that's why I wanted to discuss that today. And I have the little strainer in there. Now, if this was an emergency situation, I know that takes 4 gallons, and I have plenty of 5-gallon buckets in the house or in the garage. So, but today, just for the run, I always just put like a quart in here. So that's about all the gasoline I need for the run today. A quart that'll run it for a good long time. Now I've checked my my oil before I started it today. You should always check your oil after you're done too, after you're done and the machine cools down. So go ahead and make sure your oil level is good. But there's a low oil sensor on the generator. I always put my fuel away from the generator. But there's a low oil sensor on these generators. I'm going to turn on the petcock here because it's run dry. But there's a little wire that comes right off of this, and it goes to a connector right here. So if your generator is starting and stopping and it won't stay running, check the oil first, make sure your oil's good. Then you disconnect this little yellow wire coming off that sensor from the connector in here. You just disconnect it, and then go ahead and start the generator and see if it stays running. If it's running and it doesn't have a problem, you're going to have to keep an eye on your oil at that point, because you don't have the low oil sensor working anymore. And if it's running, that means you need a new oil sensor. You just go get yourself a new little oil sensor, you replace that, and then you're good to go again. So that's another thing. But the generators have that. Today I have it on an angle, as you can see on the board, because I want to run the tank totally dry. I run my tank totally dry so there's no gasoline in it. And I run the carburetor dry. I let it stutter and sputter with full choke like we did a couple times ago. So today we're just going to start it. Full choke. On the side here we did that. Now we got the Champion dual fuel running, and by running it every week or two, you're charging your battery, you're moving the parts, and doing good for it. And you're running any gasoline through the carburetor to run it dry, and that way it'll start when you need it. You got to take care of it, because if you don't take care of it, it's not going to be able to take care of you. So it's run for a minute before we put a load on it, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little load on it. So now we
got it running a little load, making a little electricity draw on it, and it's charging its battery, moving its oil. And it's going to run the fuel tank completely dry, and we put new fuel in there every week too. So if there is a drop or two, it'll get mixed up by running it every week. And it's not that hard. Take your time and enjoy yourself. Run your generator at least every 2 weeks, if not every week. So, okay, well, let's walk over to the other.
Okay, boys and girls, we're back with the Generac 24 kW. It's got the green light on. So that means the last time it ran, not this time, the last time it ran, everything checked out. It does a self-diagnostic, as you remember. Flashing green, producing power. So there's a draw on it. The house is running and the garage is running. Yellow is pre-programmed maintenance, and red means that there's an issue with it and it won't be running for you. So you'll have to open the cover like we've gone through and do a little diagnostics on it. But there's nothing like a Generac that's hooked up to propane or natural gas. Now the 24 kW gets reduced because natural gas doesn't burn as efficiently as propane, so it's going to be reduced to 21 kW. That's why it's important that you have your Generac dealer come out and give you an estimate of what kind of machine you need to run what you want to go ahead and run during an emergency situation. Now I'm not going to go ahead during a power failure and turn on everything and run the whole world and put an extreme draw on the generator. We're just going to run the house under normal conditions like we usually do. So with the 21 kW, it'll provide enough electric for everything. The only thing I can't do is arc weld in the garage. So if I had an arc weld, I'd push the Champion dual fuel out and arc weld off of that. So, but all my systems will run for the house. And then I changed all my light bulbs to LED. They last longer, they save you on your power bill, and basically 8 light bulbs is 1. So 8 LEDs will run for the same amount as 1 incandescent light. So to have those is good because it's less draw on your generator too. So when your power's out and it's dark out and the neighbors are all without power, you can turn on every light in the house if you want then. And have a little fun. And here's the Generac firing up. As you notice, the windows are closed so we don't get any CO in the house. And you're always going to want to have a working battery backup CO monitor along with the smoke alarm. One on every level. So it's going to run for 5 minutes. Next week we'll do a whole house run with Generac for our generator Monday. We did have a power failure, it didn't last long, about 15 minutes a few days ago. So the Generac produced power for 15 minutes, but we'll let it run for like an hour just to let it really work. So that's it. Be safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Check your equipment. Bye.